now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting edition of Meet the Author at Main Street Reads. Tonight, I have probably one of my favorite authors. We have never met in person, but we're going to be best friends. I'm going to move her down here to my guest room. This is Bonnie Tomlinson. She wrote the book, Stop Buying Bins, which I know some of you have already grabbed in the store. If you haven't, shame on you, come get it. Especially with spring break coming, you need this book. I'm not even going to fan mine out because I have a lot of notes in the margins. So I'm going to ask.
I love it.
Yeah. It is such a great book. And I'm doing this on purpose tonight, pre-Oscars, by the way, from my library so that you can see what a hot mess it is so that you can give me some tips as we go along. Okay.
Absolutely.
So Bonnie wrote this book, Stop Buying Bins, and other blunt but practical advice from a home organizer. Now, this is something that strikes at my heart because I'm not into the frou-frou of, all of this. Come on, you can do it. And, I can do that for like 3 days and then it all goes south. So what I want to first ask you tonight, dear lady, is what motivated you to do this besides people like me?
Well, when I had my own home organizing business, I would go in and I saw that, the first step was really about getting rid of stuff. You can't organize if you have more stuff than space. That's the bottom line. So when I started writing the book, surprisingly enough, I'd forgotten all of that downsizing came first, and I started writing out these stories, and I'm giving points on how to get rid of stuff. And it was just so much more than the organizing. So I scrapped the organizing part and started focusing on the downsizing part. The stories in the book are all composites of clients that I've had and what their specific situation was, what was causing them to hold on to things, and how you could break through to think of your things in a different way and get rid of them, because you'll never be organized if you have too much stuff. It's the bottom line. I wanted to write it in my way, which can be kind of sarcastic. It can be, but I wanted it to feel like friends, like just people chatting. And that's the way it becomes when I'm working with a client too. Most of my clients become friends, and
see, that's what I most appreciated about the book, is because, and this is very, very hard to achieve, whether you're a speaker or a writer, to talk to people and not at them. And that's very much what you get is talking to folks and not at them, by that casual, fun voice. That's what makes it interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was hoping for that. When friends read the book, those were some of the greatest compliments. It sounds like you're right in the room.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was what I was going for.
So what surprised you most about readers' response to the book so far?
On the positive side, because there were some negatives, and most of the negatives dealt with the tone. So there were some people that found my tone to be more blunt, or less blunt, and more abrasive.
Oh, okay.
But those thankfully were few and far between, and they never said anything about the advice given. So the advice is solid.
Yay.
I take it in.
Yeah, it is. So what's been their biggest takeaway then? Readers, what have they said that the biggest takeaway that they got from the work?
That downsizing is actually easier than you think. Organizing is easier than you think. When you ask yourself the right questions and put yourself in the right mindset, getting rid of stuff is fun. Yeah. It's actually something that you can look forward to. You're like, I don't need to go buy more. I already have, or whatever your switch is, whatever you're dealing with. Little story, a friend of mine from college suggested the book to a friend of his from high school. She read it, called him. I need to talk to this person. I loved the book. So she and I have been talking every other week at this point. I check in, see how her progress is going. Last time we spoke, she actually said the words, I don't remember a time before reading this book because now I just want to get rid of stuff. I look at it and I don't say, oh, but I have to keep that. If it's not doing anything for me, I just get rid of it.
Yay.
And it blew my mind. That I never expected.
Yeah.
So,
you know, we did a thing. My son was going to get married here in the backyard. We have a big backyard, big house. We hadn't really kind of done anything in the 15 years we'd moved here except collect stuff because the kids were kids, you know.
Sure.
And so we started cleaning up, and because we wanted to do, well, I was redoing floors in our upstairs, which required moving everything out of those rooms as the floors were getting done. And there's nothing to make you clean like doing new floors, guys, I can tell you, because the pressure is on. You cannot put it up till next weekend. That stuff's got to get out of there now.
And you can't just move it to one side of the room while you're painting one wall.
Exactly.
You know, when you paint, you can do that. You kind of just move it from one side to the other, but not with flooring. No.
I ended up with an entire, basically because we would bring down bags like every day, take them to the dump, take them to the shelter, call Habitat for Humanity, whatever. We had at the end, I filled up literally at least an entire guest room's worth of just stuff, like wall to wall, just stuff that until I went through that process, had no idea that it was gunking up. Now, sadly, 5 years later, I'm ready to do it all again. So yeah, things do collect. When you own a bookstore, there's a lot of things that collect. Yeah.
Yes. And we can talk about retail too, because I think that's, I have questions to ask you on how, because it does, those two things do go together. You know, you have a book on your shelf and it's not selling.
Right.
So you don't just leave it there. You have to make room for other books. So you price it to go and you try and move it out. You do something special to it to make it shiny so that it, you know, can go on to another home eventually. I don't know what your system is. Maybe you donate them to the library or what have you.
Yeah.
But it's the same for any of the things in our homes.
Yeah.
It's not,
you have to clear out. You have to clear out your stock. Right. Exactly.
You have to clear out for something new. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can think of it in a retail perspective as well.
Yeah.
Say, for example, you know, when you do your business plan, right?
Yeah.
You know how much each square inch in your business is costing you in rent, in employees, and insurance, what have you. Those things, that item that you're putting on the shelf has to pay you back.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's
and you know, that's what they tell you too when you first start out. They say you cannot look at each book on the shelf as a book on the shelf that you love. You have to look at that book on the shelf as a $20 bill.
Yeah.
And in bookstores, the basic rule of thumb is, now we kept ours longer through pandemic and things, obviously, but the basic rule of thumb is 90 days. That book's got 90 days to make it
okay, I would have said 6 months, but that's okay.
Yeah,
even
90
less
days, and it has to go. And we typically do closer to 6 months. We definitely do 90 days on reorder. You know, if something sells in 90 days, we're not going to reorder that book. It took 3 months to sell it. But then there's some things, but that lets you keep a few of the truly treasured things that you know you're going to carry in the bookstore no matter what, because you really want to hand sell and talk to people about them.
Right.
So those are your treasured items. Yeah.
And those are the same things that apply to your home.
Yeah.
Right. Every item in your home has to have some kind of value. And that's really where the joke about stop buying bins is I actually said that to more than one of my clients, you know, who were like, oh, this is a mess over here. I need to organize it by putting it in bins. No, you need to go through what you have. You may not need the bin at all. And you might get rid of all the things that were going to be in the bin.
Yeah.
because if it's going in a bin, you're not going to see it. You're not going to use it. You're storing it.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I mean, some people, I go into their homes, I go through these bins, half of it is actual trash.
Yeah.
Like old receipts and,
Yeah.
McDonald's French fry cups, they're like, it's actual trash in there. Like, you don't need to house it.
Yeah.
Bins
Because
have their
how do people clean and straighten? Someone's coming over, you just
exactly. Just
drawer.
it's pasta, and certainly with kids, right? Yeah. I only had one child who's here supporting me, but I've been in homes with multiple kids. That's great. You can be organized, but you have to have systems, because the system is never going to be just stick it in bins. Your house is going to be just loads of boxes. Yeah. Nobody wants that.
Well, I'm big on everything needs to have a place to live. So
yes.
It lives in that place and it has to go back to its home. It can come out and visit. And then
right.
But that's a big problem when you have others living in the house who never put things back where they live.
The systems are vital.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's a whole other book. it's book 3. But
I want to include a chapter in book 3 on capital punishment for those who don't put things back where they live.
Okay. We'll discuss.
All right. So what's your own favorite chapter in the book?
Chapter 1.
Okay.
The first chapter. It's mine. I own it. Yeah. And I wanted people to know that I'm not just standing here in my perfectly manicured home saying this is what you should do. I too have made mistakes and have learned from them. And, there's nothing more, humiliating or humbling than going into your closet and going, oh my God, why do I have all this stuff in here? Yeah. I'm never going to wear that skirt from college just because I liked the size on the label. Or I, went out on my first date with some hot guy wearing that skirt, whatever the reason. I mean, we keep them for a million different reasons. Yeah. The fact is that they're clothes. It's not vital to anything. You can get rid of them.
Yeah. And
you can give them a second life. That skirt actually went to my daughter. I don't know if she wears it or not. She'll have to answer that question. But that I think is my favorite chapter. I think it sets the tone for the rest of the book. I'm saying I have done this too. So I'm not better than anyone else. I'm not trying to show that I know all. I'm working from a place that is relatable, in that I'm not trying to make your closet look like my closet. I'm just wanting you to apply the same set of rules that helped me. And that is, think about why you're holding on to it. You don't need it if you can't wear it, is the end of the story when it comes to clothes, really.
Right.
And just moving it on to someplace else. There's so many reasons and so many, and the negative, if I want to touch on the negative of certain people that have said something about the book, they're not people who are ready for this. They're not ready to make the change. I appreciate that. Then it's not the book that's the problem. You're not ready to read this book. You don't want to get rid of anything, then why are you reading a book on how to get rid of stuff? But yes, the first chapter is definitely my favorite, and my favorite comment about the first chapter is that I've had friends call me and like, I just read the first chapter. I don't know what the rest of the book is about because I put it down and I immediately filled a bag. And that is the greatest compliment I can think of. That they were just motivated to pull it all out and start the process. So
that's great. Fantastic.
That's So chapter 1 is definitely.
Outstanding. Very good. All right. So what else would you like people to take away? Tell us tonight.
Well, I think what I'd like people to take away is understanding why they hold on to things, whether it is because it's still good, or why should I get rid of it? It cost me a lot of money, or it's sentimental, or it belonged to my mother, whatever. They're all the chapters have a different take on why people have their things. I'm just trying to get people to understand that if you look at your things in a different way, that they're actually things.
Yeah.
And that they are affecting the way you live in your home, which is supposed to be a place where you are that you get rejuvenated, you get rest, you get motivated. Your home is not supposed to be sucking energy out of you. I don't say this in the book, but I have said this to clients. Some scientist I read, I don't know where this was. It was an article a million years ago. But the basis of it was that items in our home, things that don't produce energy, absorb it. We, living organic organisms, produce energy. That means the things in our home are literally sucking the energy out of us.
Yeah.
The more stuff we have, the less is left for us.
Yeah.
And that's just really where I want people to get to the point where they're not fighting to hold on to things for reasons that aren't valid. My version of valid. That's where, it gets a little touchy.
Yeah, right. Outstanding. No, that's very, very true. So let's up our energy, get rid of the crap, and stop buying bins for it. I did not buy a single bin this spring cleaning season.
Yay!
Fantastic. All right. Does anyone have any questions for Bonnie this evening, or comments or observations that they'd like to make about the process? Or we're going to go ahead and open that up. You can unmute yourselves now and let me know. And if not, we can all go make popcorn and watch the Oscars while we're filling up a bag of crap. No. Oh, they're easy. No questions. Well, this has been so fantastic. I'm going to
Thank you so much,
recording on Main Street Reads and with our folks, and I'll send it to you as well. And if there's any snippets out of it, yeah, it's great. And I do. I have one more question. Tell me what you're working on now.
So I'm working on the second book,
okay,
which is what I thought the first book was going to turn out being, and it turned out being about downsizing. The second book is about organizing.
Okay.
So the organizing part is it's a little different because I can't be there to, help you fold your clothes or, but it's going to be how to think about organizing and how it works for you. It's not a one size fits all.
Right.
This isn't, some kind of, I have a real problem with the home organizing shows on television because they go in and do it their way. And they never take into account how those people live their lives.
Yeah.
I have been in homes where you can see a pattern through the clutter, and those people work a certain way. Me making gap folds on their t-shirts is pointless. As soon as I leave there, it's going to be back to square one.
Yeah.
So why do that? You have to make the process for the individual. And so this book is really going to be about making your own process to organizing, but giving you some tools in order to do that. I start with the bathroom as the first place, and stuff like, reconsider that basket of shells that has taken its place of honor on toilet tanks and bathrooms across America. It's just getting fuzzy and dusty, and it's not really that attractive.
No.
But, you know, we've all come to think of a bathroom as water equals seaside. And
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
But it's not clean, and a bathroom is supposed to be clean, and, you know, getting into different ways to keep it that way. You know,
So
organizing is not about the way it looks.
I found a thing. So I found a big seashell once. I got rid of
Yeah.
all my little ones, and the big
Mhm.
seashell, that's where I put in the, you know, the oil and sea salt scrub stuff for your hands.
Oh, yeah.
And that fits perfectly in a little seashell, and I can keep just one.
Very cute and useful.
Right.
And decorative and washable.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
It has
all,
one use. Yes.
yeah, it's all like, I'm big on artwork. My sister is an artist, and I have artwork in my bathroom. And in the chapter that I'm writing now, I say, I have big artwork in the bathroom. I also dust once a week.
Yeah.
So like, if you want to dust your bathroom once a week,
Yeah.
by all means, put huge, you know, pieces of art in your house, but you're going to have to take care of it.
Yeah.
It's not, especially in a bathroom where there's humidity and products and powder and dust and whatever else. Everything needs to be washable.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the next book is about organizing.
And when is that due to come out?
Knocking on wood, I'm hoping by the end of this year. I'm hoping that this trilogy, the third book, should be on lifestyle systems.
Okay.
That's the, you know, where do you put this and why kind of situation. I'm hoping to do them almost at the same time every year. So this one came out in November.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to do the same for the next two.
Fantastic. All right, great. Well, get in touch because we'll want to carry it, of course. So
absolutely. Thank you
for
so
being with
much,
us
Sherry.
tonight.
This has been
Great.
so much fun. I really appreciate you having me on.
Well, back at you. So we'll keep talking about the book. We're gonna get America clean, one person at a time, right?
Yay!
Yay! All right, you guys have a great evening. Take care.
Bye-bye now.